Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful and exciting episode of Converse with a Coach. Welcome to all of you joining us from various countries. I'm going to welcome first those who are at home in Rwanda. This is a special edition. I am broadcasting and hosting all of you from my living room. Why? Because we are in total lockdown in Rwanda. Now, if you are watching us from outside of Rwanda, I'm also welcoming you to Converse with a Coach. This is a very special edition with two amazing speakers, two amazing guests, namely Isolde Shimwe. Welcome, Isolde.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
And I'm also with Kevin Kayidimondu. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Mireille. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to host you all the way from home and wearing Uzuri shoes. Right. So for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, allow me to introduce myself. I am Mireille Karera, and I am the CEO of Karera Coaching Group, a coaching group based in Kigali, Rwanda, with a coaching academy. If you are joining us from outside of Rwanda, we broadcast these shows on Sundays at 6 p.m. in Rwanda or 4 p.m. GMT. And if you're following us from North America, hello, we know we have a great follower base in America and USA. So it is 11 a.m. in North America. So we welcome all of you. And the reason why we are here today is really because Converse with the Coach is a show that is different and unique in the sense that our aim and our goal is to spend these 60 minutes with you and our guests with the hope that you will be energized, empowered for you to start the new week and in fact the new month empowered and lifted up, for you to do what you believe is your dream to follow, what you believe is the right thing for you. So why do we exist? We exist to make a difference. We exist to empower, to uplift, and at the same time to enable transformation through coaching conversations. I would invite you to click subscribe right now below the screen and subscribe to this channel so that you get to see a lot of episodes that we have covered in the recent times. So we cover topics which are very pertinent to students, professionals, people staying at home, leaders, and really for everyone in anywhere I'm having a tongue twister right now, in all walks of life is what I was wanting to say. I guess I'm not used to broadcasting at home, so bear with me for a second. So really there is something in there on this channel that will be very good for you and that will help you to overcome some of the challenges that we are all facing during COVID right now. So subscribe, like, if you like this episode, which I know you will at the end of this, just click like so that you can help support this channel by ensuring that Google algorithm also forwards it to people like you who would want to see and hear more about positive content that inspires, that empowers, that transforms communities. So that is us, that is me. I'm also encouraging you to share your comments and your questions in the chat. This is a very interactive session with our guests. So this is not just me and my guests speaking, that's really us having a conversation, right? So Converse with a Coach is often with coaches like myself that are called to speak on specific issues. And sometimes we invite inspirational speakers and also thought leaders that we believe are going to inspire you as well. And indeed today we have amazing guests. We introduced them very briefly, but allow me to share a little bit about Isolde and Kevin. Isolde and Kevin are partners at Uzuri KY Ltd, which is Rwanda's leading shoe manufacturing company. If you follow me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, various social media, you will see me posing as a teaser before this show in Uzuri KY shoes. So you will get to see some of the shoes. But the topic of today's conversation, which I believe is going to help you, is for us to hear a little bit more about how they became captains of industry. So today's conversation is about how my guests became captains of industry. So as we start, Isolde and Kevin, I have a tradition on this show. And the tradition on this show is really to share with our audience how we met. Now, I'm curious to hear from both of you if you've got the same version of how we all met. Who would like to start first in remembering how we met?
Isolde, would you like to go first?
I wanted to hear your story first, but I will go first. So I personally met Mireille, I think a bit before Kevin, at the Global Women's Summit in April 2016. She was hosting a women's competition with Karera, her business. And she, where we were actually awarded the first prize winner at the competition that she organized with in partnership with the World Bank and IFC, and then we just connected from there. She's been a very, very close coach to us and a really great business advisor throughout the years.
You know what? Your story is correct, but I'm going to correct you a little bit. The first time we met Mireille, we were together in the same room. I remember it was in the IMF office, and they were interviewing different entrepreneurs who are making change back then when we were starting up, when they were interviewing exactly women entrepreneurs. And that was the first time, but we had spoken on the phone. I was traveling to the US and we were like, okay, one of us is gonna be there. But then luckily I was there and we met during that interview. She was such a huge supporter from then. She was like, you girls got it, because we went with our energy. There were so many other ladies who were there for the interview. And they just like loved us so much because of how positive we were and ambitious and very charismatic, I would say, of what we were doing. That was actually the first time. Isolde, do you remember that time when we met coaches?
I just recalled my memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was a great line. You got it.
I am enjoying this because this is so typical, and you know that reminds me of some of the things that we share in our communication skills workshops at Karera. Because when you ask people about a certain event, they tend to tell you different stories, and both of you have two different stories that may be connected and maybe not. So let me refresh your memories. So yes, we did meet at the no. Do not celebrate that first. So we did meet at the World Bank. You're absolutely right, Isolde, when you took part in the Women Entrepreneurs competition. So, and that was in March 2016 for the occasion of International Women's Day. In March 2016. So the context is the same. I do remember one thing specifically about the two of you ladies is that your quality of presentation and your passion for what you do and the quality of your shoes that you manufacture was, you know, for us, the judges, because I was on the jury also of the competition, was just top notch. So that was back then in 2016 in March, where you indeed were selected and awarded as the top winners out of, I think we interviewed and selected about 25 women entrepreneurs in Rwanda, and you came winners of that in March 2016. And since then, I must say to you ladies and publicly online that the quality that I saw in you in terms of leadership, in terms of product, and the growth has just exceeded not only my expectation as just a humble coach and a humble mentor that has walked this journey with you, but everyone in Rwanda. So I hope I'm speaking for everyone. And if you're watching us live, please share your comments on the chat if you agree with me that the quality of the work you do is just exceptional. And we want to see more and know more of your work.
Yes, thank you so much, Mireille.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that is one of the most important interview of our career, of at least both of us journey as entrepreneurs, because it really lifted us very, very much as young women, and also going all the way to winning it, because Izol did a wonderful presentation after that interview, because I would say, of course, she was already passionate, but you also coached her and the other ladies to actually be able to present in the most professional way. I was looking at a presentation then, and I was looking at this all. I was like, I don't know this lady. She's doing amazing. And that was one of our high moments of our journey, I think, to start that young and actually be there and be recognized and be believed by someone. It was great, amazing.
Yes, and it was not just that by someone, for the audience benefit, the competition was sponsored by a majority of commercial banks in Rwanda and also key institutions in our country. So it's not just this one person, but really a whole community of business men and women. Right, so thank you ladies for putting that into context. And Kevin, you mentioned that a moment ago, the keyword young. So to put things into context, we know that from 2016, you went on and received multiple awards, not just in Rwanda, but really on a Pan-African level, where you've been recognized by key entrepreneurs such as Masiyiwa, and also, I think, if I remember well, also Jack Ma, right? Is that right? Alibaba?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So, so clearly it speaks to your quality, but the reason why this show exists is not to present a finished product, but is to empower and lift up those who are either starting up where you were 7 years ago as students, or perhaps people who are somewhere 7 years into business like yourselves and may be stuck or may need some kind of re-strategizing their priorities, etc. So I felt it was good to not only talk about you as two young women who, I always like to say, you are captain of the shoe manufacturing industry in Rwanda. Without, there's no doubt about that. But it's not about about it. It's just about sharing your journey so that people can learn from it. And I also know that we share the same passion, which is to train and really inspire the next generation to do the same thing, because you have that responsibility of pioneers of an industry to also do that. So rather than me speaking, now I have set the stage, I'm going to ask you really to share a little bit about yourselves and how you started this journey as two young women, two students, with the idea of creating Uzuri. Over to you.
Well, so this story starts a while ago. It's 8 years ago, actually. 8 years ago, when we were still university students, we were we were just in the freshman year. We had just started university. And I met Kevin. We were paired to do an assignment, a photography assignment, and we both were organized. I think we were the only people that had a mood board, actually, or maybe, of course, or maybe other few friends. And then we bonded. We literally bonded over an assignment, and we figured out that we both had passion for fashion, actually, if I can put it that way. So we both had drawings here and there, and we engaged in deep conversations, and we realized that we wanted to actually create something that wasn't only involving us, but could also touch and involve other people. Lots of Rwandans, and again, also on the worldwide level, lots of people. So through trainings and lots of documentation, learning and growing our business, this is where we are today. But our vision has always been one thing, to really be a brand that's recognized on the international level, and literally put Rwanda on the map of manufacturers. So we got more interested, and more specifically on the shoe making or the footwear industry, which was literally non-existent by then. So we had to, I think we had a lot of passion when we started, and that was our biggest currency. I believe our currency was fashion. It was passion, really. So we made it our mission. We made it our mission to birth the industry that was literally non-existent. So we started doing a lot of documentation. We met a shoemaker that was working on the streets, and we challenged him to make a brand new shoe. Of course, you have to understand that this is 7 years ago. And his first reaction was, well, ladies, I like your ambition, but I can't promise you anything. So with the shoemaker, we made sure that we were working closely with him. We would go to school in the morning at 8 a.m. and then by 3 p.m. we were in the workshop making shoes. So it's been a really, really fantastic journey. It's and also part of the drive was, I'm doing this because I want to really pave this industry, because I want other people that are a part of it to not have to suffer like I did. People to really have a brand or something to refer to when they're talking about making shoes or in the shoemaking industry. And then we have trained people to make the shoes. Where we were sitting at 3 p.m. now, we're training people to make the shoes so that we go sell them. So we believe one of the core values is we believe so much in education, and we believe in transferring skills, and that's what we've been doing.
Isolde, let me interject there, because you are ahead of where we want to go, and we will certainly continue with the next step. So what I'm hearing is that really, as a student, and I really love this, because being Rwandans and Africans, we often hear about, students at Harvard or students in the West creating Microsoft or Facebook, or, a lot of inventions come from students nowadays. And we, they challenge us to think differently, to do things differently. The social media, I guess, platforms that we use were invented and created by millennials. And what I love love about this is that we do have Rwandan students that not only did that, maybe the story was not, made as famous as Mark Zuckerberg's story or something like that. But for me, having known you for a while, I certainly knew that your story is worth telling, because we need more of Rwandans and Africans that really tell their stories, because we are doing great things. It's not just about the bad things, but great things. And your story certainly is a testimony to that. So kudos to you for being those students that we always hear about that transform the world. And it's truly a privilege that myself, I get to interview you and Kevin on that. So back to the story, and then now Kevin will add to that. So you were students, fashion was your passion, and you made it a mission and encountered some frustrations. Now you are training others to do that. But let me just hear Kevin's version of your funding story. Kevin, would you like to add a little bit more to how Uzuri started?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mireille. And I think Isolde really put it together very, very well. And one thing that she really mentioned, and it really reminded me how far we have come, is that the man we met from the streets, we would meet him from Kicukiro Centre, and people were still working from the streets, with that informally. And they would just be so surprised to see two young girls from university sitting on the floor with an old man making shoes. And these men were actually repairing shoes. They were not even making shoes, really. So one day we traveled all the way from school. We took a bus all the way from school to Kicukiro Centre, and he wasn't there. He didn't have a phone, and he was our only hope to actually construct our first pair of shoes. And we couldn't find him, but before that, we could have conversations about where he lived, his kids, his wife, his story, and we decided to go to that location. It's Gahanga, but Gahanga is such a huge sector, and we had to really think of where exactly he lives. We knocked on different doors, asking for, again, a wrong name, because we used to call him Muzehe, and he's really called Muzehe Francois. And we could just say Muzehe, who just makes shoes. And some people happen to know him. So when we actually knocked to his door and he saw us, he literally cried, thinking, these girls are really serious, because he didn't take us seriously at all. He was like, okay, they're gonna give up because this is super hard. So we came from convincing a shoemaker, the most important person in our company, to creating a company. But before that, I just want to say that, let's say a year and a half later, we decided to hire him as an employee of the company. He teared. He really thought that now this is it for life for him. Today, he's one of our senior shoemakers. He's not even the only senior shoemaker now. He's one of the shoemakers. And he has contributed a lot to our growth today. To be honest, it will be difficult for someone to understand that we came from that part to getting here. And during that time as well, we were selling. Myself and Isolde would take a motor, go see a client. A client says, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's probably go and change it, to go back to either our home, either to Muzehe's home, either to the street, make the shoe again, go back to the customer, no matter how many times they send us. So we were making shoes, delivering them, marketing them, selling them. So it was not such an easy journey to start. And at the same time, then we were students at university. Mind you,
I'm sure it wasn't. Yeah.
Oh, when it comes to funding,
Yes.
though, there's a...
Sorry about that. We will get to the funding part. Well, sorry, my internet may be a little bit slow, and I apologize in advance for that. But I would love to just make sure that our guests hear it, and I also heard it well. So as students, you would study, obviously, go to university, but at the same time, in the afternoon, in your spare time, you would meet with a muzee, which in Swahili means, old man, but it's also a friendly term for elderly, because I'm seeing people joining from Ghana, hi Ghana, and other countries. So you would sit with someone of a certain age who would truly impart knowledge to you, the level that he had as a knowledge, he will impart that to you. But fast forward, you really went over and above his knowledge, which was, at its basic level. And you created a factory, the first shoe factory in the country. And not only did you continue to collaborate, but you really hired him and recruited him, and he's one of your eldest employees or senior employees. I mean, how inspirational is that story? I'm almost tearing up with emotions, because it's more than 360 or 180 degrees. It's just fascinating. So I didn't want our audience to miss it. And if you are joining us, want to comment and also want to ask questions, because I see there's more people joined, tell us where you're joining from. So I just heard Ghana is on the show. If you're joining us from outside of Rwanda or Rwanda, like Gloria, who's online. Hi, Gloria. Just say hi to the ladies and hi to everyone. Right. So back to the founding. So I can imagine now where you were, Kevin, and Isol can also continue. So clearly, starting up as students, I imagine that startup capital was potentially an issue. How did you manage the transition from going from students to full-time entrepreneurs and really starting a factory that we know as Uzuri Factory right now?
Oh, am I going? All right. I thought
either you or Isolde, either of you.
How did we do that? It's a long story. I'm gonna try to make it as short as I can. So what we had back then, to be honest, was the ability to also use the internet and learn how things are done. So we knew what kind of machinery do we need to upgrade, because I remember there were a few shoemakers in the city, shoemakers here and there, who would knock on their doors, they would shut them right at us because they didn't want to share the knowledge. And I just realized that they didn't want to share because they really had nothing. I got to realize that a few years ago. They really had nothing going on. And that's why our factory is always open. And that's why we train people, so that the industry is birthing today. You see people coming up with shoes today, and that is really impressive. But going back to where we come from having one shoemaker who is also not very skilled at some point, because skilled labor was such a big challenge from the beginning. Maybe we'll talk about challenges later. We had to really instill with him the idea that everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. He would be like, you know what, this is how we've done things for many years, and it's not gonna change. So we had to convince them that, you know what, this is very possible, because we can make mistakes and we can go back and correct them. So educating our employees was a very big part of our journey. Then we had to go back and educate the market. We're coming up, there's like made in Rwanda footwear. There is nothing like that. And we're trying to create a difference. What makes us different? And we're using eco-friendly materials. And people are like, oh, so you want to make rugabire? Rugabire, our grandpas used to wear them here and there. They're not really fashionable. So we're trying to use an outsole made out of a tire. People are not really having it. I remember customers saying, you know what, we're not gonna wear this. We're not gonna wear this, because we're experimenting. What can we use as materials? And so when they said we're not going to wear this, we had to think, okay, they're not going to wear them because they know rugabire is not a good product. How can we make it better? So we had to find a way to refine it. Good machinery that we have today, we had to learn how to find them. And sometimes we could just find spare parts, put them together. I remember we had a machine somewhere in Gikondo that used to make a lot of noise and had a lot of dust, because it was just a fabrication, small fabrication. And today we have a bigger version of it, but honestly, even that, nobody ever showed us. So we had to really find out how to refine our product, and then go back to the customer who liked it before and say, you know what, we have improved. Can you take a look? Some of them would give us a chance, but I would say that most of them did give us a chance because that's why we're here. So we started educating our customers over and over again, delivering to them, putting our products in the city. One of the stores that we have today in the city, we used to sell there as well, it was more like selling from another seller. So we were not really, we did not own the store then. And we would just place the shoes there, people would come and buy. And of course, we were there all the time because we didn't have employees to be there and sell. They would just take the money and pocket it. They don't pay us. And you understand, as a person who's employing people, it becomes a big challenge. But we came to overcome them, and
I can imagine.
Out of it.
Sure, I totally relate to that. So speaking, Kevin, and then now Isolde will be sharing a bit. But when you were talking about educating the team and educating the market about your product and the quality that you bring to the table, I realized that this is one of the biggest pioneering pains, as in the pain that someone who does it for the first time has to go through it. And it's just resonates with the coaching industry in Rwanda, where, when Karera came in, nobody knew what coaching was, and later on having Rwandan coaches that were serving the market. So we had to go through the same thing, having the right skills internally that can service externally as well. So totally relate to that. So let's Isolde about something us now that may be doing something for the first time, that nobody else around them has done that, how you overcame that emotionally, financially. And I know you are the finance person of the partnership. So if you can share a little bit more about how you overcame some of those challenges, and then we'll come back to Kevin later.
Well, thank you, Mireille. I think that when we started at the very beginning, we really did not have any money. So we can first put the money on the side. But we were young and ready to take risks. That's one thing that I know for sure. And we had passion. I think all the struggles that we went through, I think it was really for the love of what we wanted to do, but also how we saw it could be something big, something that would involve a lot of people. So I think that honestly, I'm going to repeat this again. Our currency was the passion that we had, the need. I think also having a great leadership, because we all were looking at Vision 2020, which was exactly last year, and we were seeing great projects, amazing things that our country is about to achieve in a few years, and I think one of the biggest questions that we kept asking ourselves was, what are we bringing on the table? I am Rwandan. I want to be a part of that vision. Now, what is my contribution? And I think through that, we were able to shape our vision now that could, of course, fit in that vision. Right now, today, people are proudly wearing Made in Rwanda, but this is something that was said years and years back, and people did not necessarily understand what that meant, which connects with the part where Kevin was saying that we had to now educate them to wear Made in Rwanda. So our contribution was really that product, that great product that we have constantly improved through criticism, which we have appreciated throughout the years. And now we're very happy to say and proud to say that today there are 44,000 pairs of Uzuri on these streets. in the whole world. People buy in Kigali, outside Kigali, in Europe, in the States, in Australia. It's impressive. And I think that was really what we were bringing on the table. So when it comes again to finance,
and to that note, Isolde, to that note, without interacting, but speaking of people outside of Rwanda, I know that whenever I go outside, the kind of gifts, made in Rwanda gifts that I take to my friends, partners outside of the country, Uzuri shoes are part of that, obviously coffee as well. But Uzuri and our organization, Karera, happen to be in the same building. And I can attest to the fact that the quality, speaks volumes now. And a very concrete example. While COVID obviously hit us, all of us, unexpectedly last year, but what I like you did so well is your marketing strategy later on, towards the end of the year, where I could see there was a long queue, a long line of customers that were lining to get for Christmas. I don't think I've ever seen such a thing in the country. So well done, and kudos to you for really going from not having enough at first and persevering with the finances and re-strategizing. So continuing on that, Isolde, I know we have students following us. We do have quite students from a number of institutions following us, but also entrepreneurs that maybe have been around for a year or two or three. What would be your recommendation on the finance part and the management? And I know later on we'll talk about women partners and women working together, but let's just tackle the finance part first, and then we'll do the other part later.
Well, thank you. I think when it comes to, I'm just going to say, you do not need 5 million random francs, you do not need 100,000 random francs to start a business. I believe that any money can start a business when you have a vision, when you are well structured. And then you can, depending on the business that you're trying to do, you can raise the money or throughout different possible channels. But dear student, if you're seated, you have a great idea, you have a great product or service that you want to bring to the world out here, don't be set off because of money. The reason why I'm saying this is your product, if you have developed your product or your service, this is through the hardships that we were talking about a few minutes ago. You need to attract people. You've got to meet people, the right people, the people that are going to help you develop even the product, but also the people that are going to fund that product. Because if you have, I absolutely believe that a great product or a great service, it's worth investing in, and there are investors out there, people that absolutely could go with you throughout the growth of your business or the strengthening your service or product. So just like we started ourselves, we really did not have any money at all. Like Kevin was saying, we started buying one small machine, and then another one here, and then another one after a couple of months after savings, to be able to improve our product or produce 10 pairs today instead of 5 that we were producing previously. So it was through growth, it was through reinvestment that we actually reached out to having a factory right now that's functioning, that had people that work from 8 to 5 and producing shoes. One other thing that I also want to add is that you're going to be discouraged. Everybody is not gonna welcome you arms open, wide open, but you've got to push through, and if you believe in your product really, and keep moving. One quick one though, I think there's a theory behind starting from scratch and starting maybe with borrowed money or a loan. I like the theory of when you start with a loan, you're literally starting from minus. So you are literally beyond zero. So you gotta have a long way to go from that minus to the zero and then to the plus. But when you start from scratch, from the ground, I think you maybe need to take steps back to look things at from afar and take decisions, but you are obviously and definitely going to rise, if I would call it.
Yes, and before Kevin interjects, sorry, Kevin, before you share something, there's a lot of amazing comments that I would like to share because we're only 20 minutes away from the end of the show, and I really want to give you also feedback from what we are hearing. So we've got Canada. Hi, Canada. Thank you for joining us all the way from Canada. And some comments from what you just said, Isolde. Some people are saying that they said, we all need mentors from Uzuri KY. Definitely our role models. All the way from Canada, ladies.
Beautiful.
And, I am also seeing Imanzi Kaitare, who says, great discussion, love the Uzuri KY brand and the journey. Watching from Toronto. Hi, fantastic. Yeah, certainly we confirm that Canada, next to Rwanda, is the country that follows us the most. So thank you, Isolde. And clearly I know as a CFO of the organization, you will know quite a lot about finance. And I like your philosophy about starting with your own capital and with the organic growth. So that was also my strategy when I founded Karera. Even though sometimes I must, be transparent, hesitate and wonder, would it have been good to start with, raise capital? But let me just ask Kevin to comment a little bit more on that. And also, Kevin, you can also share with us about how you've been successful to partner as two young women partners for 7 years, which is, as we know, a bias that is out there that women cannot collaborate effectively together. So Kevin, over to you.
Thank you, Mireille. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make a comment on funding and finances, because when it comes to a startup as Uzuri, where it started, you can't even think of money then. You think of developing a good product, as Isolde said, but I just want to mention that we reinvested every single penny. The first pair of shoes we sold was to my best friend. I remember she paid us 10,000 francs. That is less than $10. And we actually went to the market, bought more raw materials, made 2 more shoes. We did not go to a restaurant and use the money for a good meal. We're students. We're actually really hungry students. We have no money, but our vision was to create a product that is locally celebrated and also internationally recognized. And that's what we did by reinvesting every single penny. So how do you reinvest? You reinvest by knowing your cost of production, knowing your gross margin. Do not ignore these things, because that's what will help you to understand where your business is going. If you're making profit, if you're not making profit, if you're entitled to reinvestment in capital expenditures and much more. That's how we're able to say we're buying 1 more machinery. I remember in 2015, there was this woman who was running a fashion house, and she closed the business, and she called these other entrepreneurs to buy her old machinery, her old chairs and all that. And because we had saved, we were able to buy those stuff and put them in our little home where we're producing from. And also, apart from knowing your product and the cost of production, your margin, profits, all those things, know the right people. Back then, we made sure that we were talking about our product as if it's a Mac or an Apple product, because we were But then when you think about it, also another product did not start like the way it looks today. It started from somewhere not really great. And we would just say, you know what, you look at this product, you look at this shoe, maybe then we didn't even have these types, we had way lower qualities. And we would just say, you know what, we want it to be way better than we think. Of course, it's sometimes almost impossible to explain how you want things to look like. But today, what we're saying then, and people who are close to us are seeing it today. So those people you tell it to are very, very important. Be sure that the people who are going to support you. And then we made sure that we made changes by going to the ministries, like the Ministry of Trade, going to PSF, Women Chamber, talking about what we do. Joining Women Chamber actually was one of the big things that we did back then. And also—
That's where we met, by the way. We met because you were part of the Chamber of Women Entrepreneurs, and that is a really sound advice that I hope people will connect. So maybe those who are outside of the country, and we have Angola in the house. By the way, I've got someone who is also saying that there are Uzuri shoes in Angola, ladies. That's awesome. So what you are saying, just very briefly before you continue, is that be part of communities, professional communities, such as the Private Sector Federation, Chamber of Women Entrepreneurs. So in other countries outside of Rwanda, that would be like your Chamber of Commerce. And you were certainly there. And that's why Karera and all other key stakeholders that were funding met you there. So there is power in being part of an association or a body that is, within your sector. So I just wanted to say that, and a few more comments that I hope will encourage you, ladies. So Angora is in the house, and also Jeannette is saying that you are champions. So bingo to ladies champions. I love when women affirm their strength. So that's to the comment you mentioned, Kevin, about knowing your cost and cost of production, etc. So time is flying. There is 14 minutes left. So while we talk about business, we talk about knowing your environment, your key stakeholders in your sector, the banks, the economy around the movers and shakers and mentors, etc. So let's talk about what Jeannette just said, women working together. I know International Women's Day is in March, so I would like for us to have some kind of taster conversation about that. Could you share with us the journey, the highs and lows, Kevin and then Isolde, on, getting to know each other as, partners other than students and friends, but also knowing yourselves on the journey, because you were young, you were students, and now you are mature businesswomen on top of your industry. What was it like for you, Kevin, and then Isolde?
Well, thank you, Mireille. Women entrepreneurs working together. Of course, there's this stigma that women can stand each other. They cannot work together for more than a year. And we're of course, apart from being women, we're also young people who believe that anything is possible. We're coming up as a different energy that believe in women collaboration, because that whole thing that has been painted for women to be is just simply not true, because we can work together. I remember when I met with Isolde and working on the same assignment, we're actually studying creative designs and environmental build from the University of Rwanda. And that is a specific course we chose so that we can find ways we can learn and improve on our passions and make sure that we monetize them as well and do something great out of it. So Isolde and I, when we met, even during the courses, the classes, when we worked together, the teachers, the lecturers, one thing that they would comment on would be like, you guys worked together, didn't you? So it was really obvious that we would work together either way. She would bring a different perspective, I would bring a different perspective, and we'll come up with a great work. Even at university, was some of the best students in the class, because I don't think it's because I was great or she was great. I think we were great together because of our collaborations. So it started from early on, and that was a really good foundation that still help us until today.
That's good. Isolde?
Well, I think that adding on what Kevin was saying, I think that part of the things that we did on at a very, very early stage was to spot each other's fortes and to give the space for each one of us to shine. I think as we were also evolving as human beings, as women individually, we were coming from 18, 19, I think it was around that time. And we were now becoming women, grown-up women. We have also evolved as people and changed our minds. At the very beginning, it was easy to deal with each other because we were kids. And then through the growth, through our personal growth, at some point, there were the ups and downs, like you were mentioning them. But one of the biggest exercise that we have done was to really recognize each other's forte and give the space for us to do it. Just a very quick correction. You were saying that I was the finance lady. Kevin is actually the one that's taking care of it, and she's doing a fantastic job. I'm more of the product lady. Always excited.
To the creative.
Always excited to make new products, and I spend lots of time at the factory with the people still creating, and that what fulfills me. And when Kevin tells me about her day, how she was, because we again have regular meetings because we report to each other, we work together, of course with our managers, but it's always at the end of the day, I know that I'm accountable to a certain task, and I've got to show my contribution, my result. That also keeps us moving, and then we don't spend so much time in each other's face. We don't have time to to really fight no more, if I would say. So I think it's one of the things that really has helped us. And I would encourage other business partners as well to recognize that, to do that exercise, and then see how you can figure things out. One thing, as much as we have different roles and responsibilities, our vision remains the same, and that's what we focus on. And as leaders, it's our role to communicate it with the people that we are together with, and install it in them so that we keep moving forward. Otherwise, we would, they will be left out, and it really wouldn't match. So I think it was really through recognizing our skills, recognizing our talents and the things that we're interested in, and giving and prioritizing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, and also for correcting me. Actually, it speaks volumes to what you were just saying a moment ago about knowing each other's strengths. So you already pointing out that the finance lady is actually Kevin and not you, and you are the creative lady. That's really real time. Sort of insight into what goes on at Uzuri. So. Thank you for, just making it clear to all of us out there, because you're right, Kevin, that there is this stigma and this bias about women partnerships. So what is a success for you is, knowing each other's values, strength, respecting them and utilizing and building on them as you go along. And also you grow as a human being. So we tend to forget as leaders, as a professionals, that, we all evolve. We all are human beings that grow, and we need to have that grace for each other as we're figuring out this leadership walk or journey of life. So I liked what you said, and then we will pick it up in a moment on what you are doing to empower the hundreds of other shoemakers that you have trained. So I see some comments, and I would like to acknowledge them as we have only 6 minutes remaining before the show ends. So Gloria is saying, Kevin and Isolde have proved that the sky is the limit. Their approach of growing their business has been very inspiring. Their brand being on the African continent and globally is amazing. So I'm also seeing Diane Kamanzi, hi Diane, saying, like your couple ladies, keep up the great work. So amazing comments and appreciations. Now, we've got 6 minutes left, and I would like for us to talk about not only, the great financial success, the positioning success in Rwanda and on the continent, but I know that you have been involved in training many shoemakers in Rwanda because you don't want them to go through what you had to go through, which is an incredible mark of leadership to, pass on the baton to the next generation. So can you share briefly with us the work you're doing to train shoemakers in case we've got students or professionals that may wish to know more about, how do I make shoes? How do I manufacture shoes? Who would like to take this one?
I can go. So our TVT program is actually a TVT program, which is Technical Vocational Education and Training, that we started really out of frustration that we did not have any skilled labor. But I remember the first time we called, officially we called people to start learning with us. We wanted at least 50 people, and we received 300 applications then. And we're like, but why? So we came, after doing a little bit more research and talking to people, we came to understand that people really are hungry to learn, to get skills, and so that they can use in the labor market. So we made sure that we continue the program even if we did not need employees, because back then we're doing it for that particular reason. Of course, the people were trained by international trainers then from Germany. We worked with the ACS program from Germany, and they really did an incredible job. We worked with a trainer from Bata from Kenya, who did also a great job. And then what we didn't realize is that we were training trainers. We got to a point where we did not even need to be these international trainers. However, these trainers also work with organizations that really supported us. So we did not really invest too much. Of course, we invested space, invested in the materials, we invested in some domestic support and all that. But we got a lot of support because of, again, we talked about what we wanted to do and people came for our help. And today, 1,006 people have been trained, 70% are women. Surprisingly, some of them came up with incredible strengths of creating their own small businesses. Now, all of our employees went through the program. They are trained by us, and they work exactly the way we want things to be done for our customers. Of course, exactly the way a customer needs to be, the products to be. And then when it comes to the ones who are not working for our company, they went out there and they started businesses. And now today there are 10 small businesses that were born out of this program. I can give an example of a young woman named Ida. She's in Nyarudenje, and she's creating exactly the same cycle, because she's making shoes and then she's bringing in young women, young people from her community to learn with her. So the impact is way beyond what we have done so far.
Wow, that's fascinating. We've got 2 minutes left, but what I'm hearing is a full circle story. Full circle when one muzehe, one elder, one man that trained 2 students, and those two students created a whole factory and have many stores at the airports, in town, in key flagship locations. And now you are doing the same, not only for 2, but for 1,200 also. And not only that, you are also imparting the knowledge to people that are outside of Kigali, the capital, but that travel all the way from rural areas to come to your factory, which is in Gahanga. So you are, adding more value to your local, the community where your factory is. So I really wish we had more time. Probably I will need to have you back, maybe on International Women's Day or something like that. I don't know, so that we can talk a lot more about this, because there's only 1 minute left, and I can see, there's a lot more people that joined. But allow me to firstly thank you, ladies, for just being amazing, for taking on this call to be the captains of the shoe manufacturing industry in the country, and taking the lead to pass on the baton. And as they say, there is no success without successor. And you have proven that. That proverb is very much true to you. So thank you for being you. And I am learning from you, ladies. I need to learn more about your marketing strategy to get a long queue all around Kigali Heights.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mireille, for having us. We had a fantastic time sharing our story.
Yes, there's a lot more to say, but before we go, I always like to announce the guest of next episode. So next Sunday, we're not going to meet, but brace yourself, ladies and gents. We are having a special Valentine's Day episode. So Valentine's Day is on the 14th of February. It's a Sunday. So we'll be back on the 14th of February with a special guest. Her name is Pindi Yende. She's from South Africa. She is South Africa's national bestseller and author of Yet You Married Him. So the topic will be obviously around Valentine's, and really she will talk to us about how to know how to select your life partner. I'm inviting you to tune in again on the 14th of February at 6 p.m. Kigali time, 4 p.m. GMT, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hey, if you liked this episode, please click right now, like and subscribe before you go, so that more people can also enjoy that. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to hosting you again. If you would like to know more about mentoring and coaching, go to Kora, Kora-coaching.com, where you get to know more about our coaches and also how you can be equipped and trained with coaching skills to be able to really make a difference in other people's lives and leaders such as the ones we heard today. Until then, stay safe, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye, Isolde, and bye, Kevin.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Mireille.